What's up, Gacha gamers? This is Gacha J, and this is your home for Gacha news, analysis, and reviews. This is 2020's top grossing, which means revenue, people, Gachas of the year. Let's jump right into it. We gotta start out here at number 11 because honestly, Fake Grand Order should be a lot higher on this list if I wasn't only considering the servers that face the Western audience. The reason I do this is because that's the best data source that I can get, and I've combined a couple of different data sources to give myself a metric for what I project to be the grossing revenue of the company for just the Western audience, if that makes any sense. So this doesn't include the gigantic following that this game has in the Asiatic countries that have their own servers that probably gross 4 to 5 times this amount. But here at number 11, Aniplex with Fake Grand Order has brought in close to a projected $53 million in 2020. I would take that. Number 10 is Idle Heroes, a game that I love to hate. If you've seen my mobile gacha ranking reviews, you know that I absolutely despise this game and think that it is one of the worst games on the market today. Their predatorial complex for taking out money has definitely worked in their favor, falling number 10 on this list at $68 million, with 20 million of that alone coming from China on the Western servers. They have their own servers, but instead they decide to come whale on these global ones instead. Number 9 is much more deserved to be on this list of Fire Emblem's Heroes. This is a very well-made game. I had a lot of fun playing it. It's a very strategic, turn-based type of game, very similar to the Fire Emblem Heroes games that you would play on a Switch or on your older game consoles. If you know Fire Emblems at all, you know exactly what you're getting into. No, it's not the Super Smash Bros. Variant of these heroes. It's the actual gameplay. It's worth checking out if you like that type of story, if you like that type of combat. Overall, it's a pretty solid game where the endgame gets a little pay to win, clocking in at $77 million. The global server for Fire Emblem Heroes sees the most revenue coming in from Japan at about $15 million, and the United States clocking in at $13 million. That means that this game has a pretty significant following across the world that's willing to shell into it, and it makes sense. It's a really big IP. Next to Seven Deadly Sins. Now, I will say that this is one of the best games to come from an anime adaptation. Seven Deadly Sins actually has a lot of strategy and live PvP to it. It's a very fleshed out game, but at the higher end, you have to shell out a ton of money to be competitive. So it clocking in at $81 million doesn't exactly surprise me. And games with this type of IP based off of a very popular anime set seem to get a lot of downloads. It's projected that Seven Deadly Sins had roughly 2.7 million downloads in 2020.
For you, I promise, I never forget every moment that we spent together.
At number 7 is none other than Epic 7. The Epic number 7. Smilegate does it yet again, grossing another gigantic year for Epic 7. Epic 7 is one of the staples in the gacha industry. It is a very, very well-made game. You get to watch the anime come to life. If you haven't checked out Epic 7, you probably should. It may be a game just for you. It brought in close to $83 million in 2020 from the Western market alone, with only 14 million of that coming from the United States. That shows you just how global of a game this actually is.
Elijah, I'm ready for our raid-a-thon. Is that another RPG?
It's not what you think.
And here at number 7 is AFK Arena. Now, AFK Arena is a game that I like to pick on for its predatory practices, but honestly, guys, for an AFK game, AFK Arena does a lot of things right. If there was an AFK game that should be at the top of this list, it would probably be AFK Arena despite its monetization practices. But they know what they're doing, clocking in at $92 million. AFK Arena has really made some bang for their buck, with only 25 million of that coming from the United States. Slotting in at number 5 is our tried and true Summoner's War. Summoner's War continues to be one of the crowd favorites despite being one of the longest lasting games in this genre. At $133 million grossing for 2020, Summoner's War is really doing the business, and they continue to do so. I am excited to see what they have in the future. There are rumors that they are working on a new IP variant of the game, maybe a Summoner's War 2. All that said and done, it's a beloved game that continues to keep their fan base happy. It is very pay to win at the highest levels, but people still seem to love it.
Oh, no! Oh, no, 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 no!
Welcome to Strike Force. You are an elite battle squad assembled to defend Earth. This is who...
And at number 4 is Marvel Strike Force. Marvel Strike Force bringing in $137 million, with $57 million of it coming from the United States alone. Man, Marvel sure knows how to capitalize on their IP. Marvel Strike Force is a game similar to a lot of the other games that you see on this list. It is very, very shard heavy. It is very, very dupe heavy. It requires a lot of money to get to end game specifically, but people love their Marvel and they shell out a ton for it. $137 million for Marvel Strike Force.
At long last, a brand new Dragon Ball Z game for smartphones is finally here. Experience all the exhilarating action.
At number 3, we have one of the largest IPs in the world. Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle has grossed $150 million, according to my estimates, just from the global scene, with $56 million of that coming from the United States. Man, oh man, Dokkan Ball Z is actually a really fun game to play. I tried it. I didn't really understand exactly what I wanted to get into that game. It just didn't seem like for me, but I definitely understood the appeal for a lot of people. If you like Dragon Ball Z and you like that type of combat system, this game really may be for you. They seem to be putting a lot of effort into it. And honestly, when I look at the community, the typical things that you see from gigantic games like this of complainers, but overall, the sentiment is pretty strong for this game.
Windborn Outlander, as you set off on your journey once again, you must remember that the journey itself has meaning.
And to no surprise to anyone, Genshin Impact slots at number 2 on this list despite only being around for a few months here at the end of 2020. Grossing an estimated $177 million doesn't even begin to pale in comparison to what this game actually brought in. This is not including the Chinese, Korean, and Japanese servers for this game. This estimate, guys, is not including the MiHoYo PC client itself. This estimate is not including any Asiatic servers. This is strictly speaking Apple and Google Play downloads that I could get information from. Genshin Impact is truly the #1 seller on this list, and it slotting at number 2 just goes to show how crazy that is, that it finishes the second highest on a yearly list despite coming out in the second half of 2020.
So how was your week?
Go on, just tell him what you did.
What? It was a dungeon run. I can't do it solo.
And our #1, just barely edging out Genshin Impact, like literally by $100,000, is Raid Shadow Legends. Man, everybody loves to meme Raid Shadow Legends because of their high-end commercials, their subpar gameplay, the issues that Polarium gives it, but they know what's working for them. And lately I've seen people like Darth Microtransactions talking about how they're starting to turn the game around. So kudos to you, Polarium, for another job well done on making that sweet, sweet moolah. $177 million. Now guys, if I didn't mention your game and you want to see it on this list, be sure to check out my Patreon where I will have a ton of games, around 50 different games that I analyzed for this list. If you want to see all of the results that I had, be sure to check it out. All right guys, peace.